Hello, I was a Jewish believer in Jesus for 42 years. I decided to have a look and examine the Jewish position concerning Jesus and why they didn't believe in Jesus as the Messiah. Not because I had any doubt, but I simply thought it'd be an interesting project for me to do. So I listened to all the videos on Jews for Judaism and Outreach Judaism. I read the book Judaism versus Christianity, a contrast. What it all boiled down for me was, does God take flesh? Does God take flesh? This is what it's all about. This isn't about whether accepting Jesus because he's Jewish, as Jews for Jesus and all the people are telling you. It's not about whether it's acceptable to believe in Jesus recognizing he's a Jew. It's not actually about whether he's the Messiah or not. That's really not the issue. The real issue boils down to, does God take flesh? Does God take flesh? It's quite obvious for me from all my studies over many months that there was nothing in the Hebrew scriptures for Jesus being the Messiah. But the thing that really got me in the end and made me absolutely renounce Jesus as the Messiah was realizing suddenly, like a light bulb moment, suddenly realizing all the implications of the belief I held for 42 years, is that God does not kill himself. God does not kill himself. He doesn't have a son who he then kills as an atonement for sin. I suddenly recognized I knew human sacrifice was forbidden in Judaism, but I hadn't connected the death of Jesus. I hadn't seen it as human sacrifice. It hadn't been introduced to me that the person that died on the cross was actually a human being, and that human sacrifice is forbidden in Judaism. I hadn't made the connection. I'm very embarrassed about this because I should have done during the 42 years, but I didn't. And when I realised that it didn't make sense, God killing himself that is supposed to be his son, and raising him from the dead, and he was doing all this outside the temple area through a human sacrifice. Jesus was a human sacrifice, a human being, and he's killing this human being. So the blood, which is physical blood that is shed, that you believe in, will mean that you have your sins forgiven by faith and a place in heaven. And this was all done outside the temple. The priests wouldn't have sacrificed Jesus because, you know why? Because human sacrifice was forbidden in Judaism. And you know who forbade human sacrifice? It was God. It was God himself said, have nothing to do with human sacrifice. And when I suddenly realised that what I'd been believing in was human sacrifice, it was actually human sacrifice, but the belief is what you believe about it. You believe it, that this person is God or God's son, but the actual person dying on there is a human being. So by putting your faith in blood of a human being, you are doing the very thing that God has said don't do, which is have nothing to do with human sacrifice. And to me, it is an abomination now to think God kills God and raises God from the dead. I just find the whole thing abhorrent. So I renounced Jesus within that moment, and throughout everything, all the Yeshua signs, crosses, everything. And now I don't believe in him. And I just ask you to reconsider your position. Because in my view, believing in Jesus is worshipping a human being, and it is idolatry. And if you want to understand why I think like this, after 42 years of being a committed Jewish believer in Jesus, just like you are, then I would suggest you go to Jews for Judaism and reevaluate your own religion, look at your own Jewish religion, and see what the rabbis have to say about the concept of the Messiah and about this Jesus that you're putting your faith in now. If I had known 42 years ago what I had known now, I would not have put my faith in Jesus, and I would want nothing to do with Messianic Judaism or Christianity.